Greetings, booktubers. Welcome back to Grammaticus Books. Welcome to a rare book haul edition of Grammaticus Books. Now, I say rare because I tend to shy away from book haul videos. But recently, a certain booktuber has created a disturbance in the force, a disturbance in the booktube verse, when he declared war upon his fellow booktubers, upon his peace-loving denizens of the bookverse, and then released book hauls of destruction, wreaking destruction across our booktube verse that we have here. And I won't mention him by name, but his initials are Steve Donoghue. Yes, Steve Donoghue, the Dark Lord Donoghue, from high atop Mount Doom, where he went down into the cracks and the fires of doom, and he forged these book halls of destruction and declared war upon his fellow booktubers. And he forged these book halls of destruction using the ultimate weapon of mass destruction in the book hall wars, and that weapon is the Brattle Bookshop. The Brattle Bookshop, the greatest bookshop on the face of planet Earth, located in Boston. And it is the best bookstore that there is. It is the one bookstore to rule them all. And in this bookstore, he forged his book hauls, pouring all of his malice and ill will into them, and then sent them out like dark riders from the dark gate in order to assault his fellow booktubers. And I know what you're saying, that Steve Donoghue may have the raven-haired visage of a youthful 20-year-old, upon whose tongue trips off literary pearls of wisdom with languid ease. But underneath that comely exterior lies the heart of Sauron himself, the heart of Dark Lord Donoghue. But we here at Grammaticus Books, we here have forged the last alliance of book elves and men to resist the Dark Lord and drive back his minions back to Mount Doom, back to High Cottage, high atop Mount Doom, and to keep him at bay with one book haul for the ages. Yes, we have reforged the Sword of Narsil. We have taken our disparate book hauls over the past several weeks and forged them together into one bright sword of justice. And here it is, the Sword of Justice to beat back the Dark Lord once and for all. And I'm going to go through these books here, and they are quite good. It may be a small book haul, but it's a mighty book haul. And all kidding aside, Steve Donoghue has one of the best booktube channels on Booktube. He has more literary wisdom in his little pinky finger than I have in my entire body. And he has a fantastic channel. But he did declare book haul war upon the booktube verse a couple of weeks ago. And I will link that video down in the description below. And I highly encourage you to go check it out. Now, when you're talking the book haul wars here in 2025, I've got to mention the greatest book haul probably of all time. And that was done by Jake over at Pulp Mortem. Jake recently came into possession of 70 boxes of vintage science fiction and fantasy books. Not 70 books, 70 boxes of vintage science fiction and fantasy for free. And that has got to beat any book haul war there. That has got to be the atomic weapon, the book haul to end all book hauls. And I'll link that video down in the description as well, and highly encourage you to go over and check out Jake at Pulp Mortem. But that is the intro here. Let's get into this book haul here. Let's get into this shining sword of justice. All right, let's get into it here with the first book. The first book is by one of the giants of science fiction, Robert A. Heinlein, a favorite author of mine, and this is Podkayne of Mars. I think I'm saying that correctly. This was originally published in 1963. This is a 1982 Berkeley Press edition with a really nice cover on it that is uncredited, which I really find that irritating when the printing house does not credit the artist on here. Really nice cover. You got a close-up there of the back of the cover of a evil fairy landing on the main character's hand. And the back blurb says, "I'm Potty Fries, and guess where I'm going? Imagine if you can a planet 3/4 water so deep that it's over your head. That's right, I'm leaving for Earth." As rich and inventive as his classic Stranger in Strange Land, this is Heinlein's famous novel of an adventurous Mars girl on her first space voyage, her kidnapping on Venus, and her discovery that fairies are neither imaginary nor nice. So that one sounds interesting. It's a thin one. I should be able to knock the one out pretty quick, and I'll review it here when I read it on the channel. So book number 2 in this bright shining sword of justice of book haul is again another Robert A. Heinlein, and it is The Day After Tomorrow, originally published in the Pulp magazines back in 1941. This is a 1971 Signet Press edition. And again, the art on the cover is uncredited, but it's definitely of the abstract variety that was very popular there in the 1960s. And it's pretty thin as well. The basic plot of this book is that the United States has been destroyed in a nuclear war and occupied, and 6 scientists working in a deep underground secret government base in the Rockies are plotting their revenge and comeback of the United States. And it could be interesting. I have a feeling that this is going to be very pulpy in nature, very unlike Robert E. Heinlein's later works. It'll be very different from Podcane of Mars, that's for sure. And that's book number 2 here in the Book Hall of Justice. So what's book number 3? Book number 3 is another Robert A. Heinlein. I'm on a roll with finding Robert A. Heinleins with Job, A Comedy of Justice. So this particular book here is a 1985 Ballantine Press edition. The cover on it is pretty interesting. I like that cover. And this book, I picked this book up because when I do my Robert A. Heinlein videos, I get a ton of comments about this book down in the comments section, just a ton of them. And normally this is a book I would shy away from. I would shy away from it just because of the size of it. I tend to try to avoid the larger books. For me personally, my sweet spot in a book is between 200 and 300 pages. Anywhere under 200 pages, and I find that the author really doesn't have enough time or space to fully explore whatever plot arc he was trying to get into. And if it runs much over 300 pages, then it tends to start to get into bloat, and I tend to lose interest in it. I'm a little ADD that way. And this one is well over 300 pages. But like I said, it gets a ton of comments down in the comments section. The back blurb on here, I'm not going to read it because it's confusing as all get out, but it sounds like this is basically Robert A. Heinlein, and this is just me taking a pot shot at this one. I think it's Robert A. Heinlein basically taking jabs at organized religion. I could be wrong on that. If I am, let me know down in the comments section. It also came with this little artifact in here, which is a bookmark from the Great American Book Company in Boca Raton, Florida. I used to live just north of Boca Raton for a couple of years in Delray Beach, back in another life. So that was kind of interesting to find. And that is book number 3 in our book haul. What's book number 4? I'm going to take a pause and do something that Steve Donoghue really hates. And I'm going to gurgle some water in the middle of my video, which will send Steve Donoghue absolutely up the wall. Now we're going to move on to book number 4. Book number 4 is another banger, like Joseph over at Joseph Reads Books would say. It is The Coming of the Horse Clans by Robert Adams. This is the first in the Horse Clan novels, of which there are many. I've gotten a lot of people have gone and asked me to review the Horse Clans here on the channel. And I read a couple of these books back when I was in my 20s, decades and decades ago. And I always said, I'm not going to jump into the middle of this series. When I'm out and going through bookstores looking for books, I would always see these Horse Clan novels, but I never found the first one. So I told myself, you know what? I'm not buying these unless I come across the first book in the series. And lo and behold, what do I find? The Coming of the Horse Clans. 1977 Pinnacle Books, first edition. So now I've got to read it and review it here according to my promise on the channel. The cover on here, the cover art is, well, to be frank, it's pretty bad. It's not well done at all. But we're gonna look askance at that. We're not gonna pay the cover art any attention, and we'll give that one a shot. My general impressions from having read some of these like 30 years ago is that it's a post-nuclear exchange. Humanity has been knocked back to the primitive sort of level of nomadic horse clans with bows and arrows and spears, and the United States is basically trying to reorganize itself. That's my vague recollection of the Horse Clans. So that was book number 4. What's book number 5? Book number 5 is from another favorite author of mine, Larry Niven, Protector. This is from 1986, Del Rey, with a cover there by Van Dongen, doing a illustration of the main character who is a pack protector. This is sort of a sequel to the Ringworld series by Larry Niven that came about the pack protectors who created the Ringworld, and then he has one of these pack protectors that interacts with humanity. I have read this book. I read this book not that long ago, but I had to read an e-copy of it, and quite frankly, I didn't absorb enough out of that e-copy book to do what I thought was going to be a comprehensive and intelligent review, because I think I missed a lot of what Larry Niven was trying to say reading that e-copy. So I've always been on the lookout for a hard copy. I finally found a hard copy. I'm going to reread this, and after I've had a second read through on it, I will do a thorough and a good review of Protector here on the channel. A lot of people have asked for a review of this book. So that was book number 5. Book number 6 is another Larry Niven, Limits by Larry Niven. This is a collection of short stories by Larry Niven. This is a 1985, another Del Rey edition, with the art by Barclay Shaw. The art's not particularly good. It's better than the Horse Clans, but it's not that great. But I'm really excited about this book because it's short stories by Larry Niven. Now, I think Larry Niven is at his best when he is doing short stories. I think that's where he really shines. Last year, his novel, his collection of short stories called Draco Tavern, was one of my favorite books of all 2024. So I'm very excited to read this one here, Limits by Larry Niven. That should be good. And speaking of short stories, that gets us to book number 7, and The Young Magicians, edited by Lin Carter. This is an interesting book. The cover really attracted my attention. It caught my eye. This is very primitive artwork, but it's done very well. I really like it a lot. This is 1969 Ballantine Books. The cover art is by Cheryl Slavitt. And again, I would describe it as primitive art, but it is well done. It is eye-catching. You got a nice little dragon there on the back. That made me pick it up. Then I saw it was edited by Lin Carter. It's Lin Carter going out and collecting a bunch of stories about dragons, elves, and heroes. And let me read you the back blurb. Magic, that particular magic known as adult fantasy, has always fascinated mankind and continues to do so, as the enchanted and enchanting stories in this volume prove. For these are works by writers like William Morris, Lord Dunsany, E.R. Edison, H.P. Lovecraft, L. Sprague de Camp, the master of pastiche, and J.R.R. Tolkien and Jack Vance, and many more. So that really caught my eye. There's some great authors in there. I'm hoping that the interior stories are as good as this exterior artwork, and I'm looking forward to that one. And that was book number 7, The Magicians. Book number 8 is Fritz Leiber, and it is Our Lady of Darkness. Now, this is a horror story by Fritz Leiber. Fritz Leiber, I know Fritz Leiber from his Fafford and the Mouser stories, which are excellent, in the Lankmar Adventures. This is a bit outside of his normal bailiwick for me. This is the book that I am currently reading right now. This is a 1978 Berkeley Press with a cover by Richard Powers, a very much 1970s psychedelic cover on there. And this sounds really interesting. It's an extraordinary chiller, so subtly written that the existence of demons becomes actually convincing. That's from the Oregonian. Now, this looks like a really good book. I've just gotten into it. And that's definitely going to get a review when I finish it here on the channel. And that's Fritz Leiber, Our Lady of Darkness. So that gets us from number 8 to number 9. What's the 9th book in the Book Hall of Justice and Our Bright Shining Sword? And it is Roger Zelazny, The Hand of Oberon, which is awesome. This is 1977 Avon, first edition, first Avon printing of The Hand of Oberon. And this was a book that I needed. I've got 9 of the 10 Chronicles of Amber, the complete Corwin cycle and Merlin cycle, except for this one right here, Hand of Oberon, which is book 4 in the Corwin cycle. And this is in the livery that I like. It's got a cover by Ron Wolotsky. It's that black cover, really nicely done. The only thing I wish they would have blown that artwork up and made it bigger, because it's absolutely beautiful. And that fills in the one missing book in my collection. So score right there. That was very exciting find for me to get that one. I was really happy to find Hand of Oberon. And that takes us to book number 10. Book number 10 is Roger Zelazny again. We were on a roll on our book haul. And this is Roger Zelazny, Wizard World. This is actually a collection of 2 stories by Roger Zelazny that are related to each other, published for the first time together in one volume that they retitled Wizard World. And the 2 volumes that it publishes, that it collects and brings together, is Changeling and Mad Wand. Now, this here is a 1989 Baen Books with a cover by David Mattingly. And this cover is really nice. Look at the front. It's a wraparound. There's the front of it. And then you go on to the back. Really nice. Changeling is a book that gets a lot of mentions for Roger Zelazny. So I'm definitely going to check that one out, and I would definitely read it because Roger Zelazny is one of my favorites. And that gets us to the last book in our book haul, which is, again, Roger Zelazny. Roger Zelazny with another cover here by Ron Wolotsky. You can see that style. It just jumps out at you. And this is Doorways in the Sand. This book gets a lot of praise. A lot of praise. So every time I go into the bookstores, I'm always looking for Roger Zelazny. And I went in, they had a whole shelf of Roger Zelazny and half-price books. I was stoked to find it. I jumped on it. I pulled out everything that I didn't have, including this one here. And this one is going to go up high on my TBR list for sure. Doorways in the Sand. This is 1977 again. Again, it is an Avon first edition for Avon. And that's just a really nice find there in the book haul. To round out the book haul here, the book haul with the Shining Sword of Justice to beat back Dark Lord Donoghue. But there's something else here in this book haul. But it's not a book. But it is nice because in addition to having all those nice paperbacks that I picked up, I also picked up the Cthulhu calendar for 2025 for $1. And check that out. For $1. Now we are a couple months into 2025 already, which doesn't seem possible, but very nice. This is actually going to get given to somebody who I know likes Cthulhu. So that'll wind up as a gift. But that's it. That is the book haul. The book haul to end all book hauls, except for Jake's book haul over at Pulp Mortem, where he got 70 boxes of books. You lucky son of a gun. But that's it. I'm going to wrap this one up. Again, go check out Steve Donoghue's excellent channel over on his Booktube channel that he's been running for years over there. Again, I'll link it down in the description below. And with that, I'm going to wrap this one up, and I'm going to say take care, be safe, and I will catch you guys at the next book haul war.